Welcome to Kevali Channeling Presents for November the 7th. Where the heck did October go? I feel like we should still be in August until I look outside and it's like minus 20 and we got about, I don't know, a foot of snow more and it's still snowing. I hate it. If anybody that knows me knows I absolutely hate winter. And yes, I live in a place that winter is most of like 8 months a year. So yeah, welcome to my life. I should be doing this from Mexico, or where my good friend Rod, he lives down in Fort Lauderdale or just outside of Fort Lauderdale in Florida. I should be doing it from there. It'd be way nicer. Okay, enough bitching about the weather because it won't change anything. But I like to bitch about the weather because that's what I do. All for the next 6 months, I'm just going to bitch about the weather and complain. I could do it for an hour if we want. Heather might not like it because she's sitting in the waiting room going, what is he talking about? Anyway, so tonight we have a guest. Her name is Heather Tait. I'm not even going to try to explain what Heather does with her energy, with spirituality. I'm going to let her do it because it's different than what most people do. So, but we're going to start right from the very beginning and talk about her years growing up, etc., because she had a near-death experience. And near-death experiences, or NDE, I had to look it up. Heather sent me a bio and it said NDE, and I went, what the heck is NDE? So I Googled it. Oh, near-death experience. Got it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Heather in. If I was like a professional talk show, I'd be able to like pull up a couch and there'd be a couch beside me and she would just walk in and sit down on the couch like they do on the late night talk shows. But instead, I just push a button and there she is. Hello, Heather. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. Thank you. How are you doing? And yes, bitching about the winter. Hate the winter myself. Too long, too cold.
What is it? It is right now. It is. I'm just going to pull up my weather map. It's minus 17 and it feels like minus 27. That's for my American friends. That's in Celsius.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you how to translate that. Just know it's effing cold. You go outside, your face hurts. That's how cold it is, especially with that wind. It's just been, and it's been brutal. I've lived here going on over 20 years now. And I don't remember end of October, beginning of November, where it's been so windy and so cold for this amount of time. Usually we get a snowfall in October, then it's not bad. Still cold, but not bad. This has been atrocious for like 5 days now. Anyway, enough about the weather. People are like, shut up about the weather already.
We're obsessed
Well, Heather, where are you? Where do you reside? Where do you live?
I'm in I'm northeast of Edmonton, so I'm kind of not quite northern Alberta, but almost. So it's cooler here.
It's cooler. What kind of weather are you guys having there? Is it you guys getting the snow?
Well, we had a blizzard earlier today, and it's still snowing now. So I don't know if it's minus 30.
God, we drove into Calgary. I'm only like 15 minutes from Calgary. What would normally take a half hour, we drove into meeting my friend Rod for dinner at the Keg on McLeod Trail. And
I know what it is.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, the drive-in was kind of bad. It wasn't horrible. You get into Calgary, it wasn't bad. It was a stretch between Airdrie and Calgary. But coming home, it was nasty. It was like snow drifts on the highway, and we were doing like 50 miles an hour along Highway 2. It was like, okay, I don't like driving in this stuff.
On the Deerfoot there? Deerfoot's usually,
Brutal. So, welcome to Kevali Channeling Presents. We met. My lady, my love, Ellison, and you have a mutual friend. See, I thought, and I said last week the week before last, because I didn't have a show last week because of Halloween, I told people that Heather and Ellison went to school together. And when I got off the air, Ellison said, I didn't go to school with Heather. And I was like, oh, okay. But it was, who are
Gary.
Ellison and
Gary know each other.
What's Gary's
Hamilton Brown. Hamilton
Oh,
Brown.
yes, he's on my Facebook as well. They know each
Yeah.
other from when Ellison lived in Montreal. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
knew there was a connection to
And Gary
Montreal.
and I know each other because we all went to RVR, Richelieu
Oh,
Valley.
and Ellison left before that, I think, or did she?
I'm not sure because Gary's older than I am, and I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
well,
from Bruce.
that's how we
I'm from
met.
Bruce.
And Heather booked a session with me way back in June, I think it was, correct?
It was around June, yeah.
Yeah, it was in the summertime anyways. And we were supposed to do an interview just around that time. And of course, Kevin's brain, because of this damn COVID, my brain, that's who I blame everything on it. It's probably not.
You weren't well, if I recall.
I was not well. It's not been a great year, but that's a whole different story. Anyways, her story, you have to excuse my coughing and my voice cracking. I'm having a tough day. I was too social this weekend and I'm paying for it today.
Oh.
Her story really kind of intrigued me because NDEs, near-death experiences, I think are freaking awesome. And I shouldn't think that way. And I think sometimes I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of like sadistic, isn't it? That you think people almost died and that's cool. But I don't think it's cool that you almost died. I think the experience that you gained from that is cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, given up that experience for anything.
Thank you. And I've talked to a few people who have had that experience. I've done sessions with them. And they've all said the same thing. They wouldn't give up that experience for anything. Almost the exact same words. Ooh, I got goosebumps. That's cool. So let's go back. Let's tell people who Heather is. You have the ability to channel.
Yeah.
Do you call yourself a psychic or do you call yourself a medium? You don't call yourself
Neither.
So when was it that you because I know when we talked before, you had said you've always had the ability to see energy.
Yeah.
So when did that explain? First off, explain what energy is. Explain what you mean by that.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, there's the energy system around the human body, right? There's the chakras as well. The main chakras, which is from the first to the seventh being right at the top of the head. But there's also the energy field around us. I had always been able to see energy in the form of even around the trees. It didn't matter if it was animals, trees or plants or people. I could just always see it, and I have ridiculous in memory. So definitely by age 3, I clearly remember, and my great grandmother would tell me things like, shh, don't tell because they won't understand, because she could see things too. So,
I talk to so many people. I speak to a lot of practitioners in my practice. A lot of them say the same thing, where it's, oh, I had this ability when I was a child, but I was told don't tell anybody because I was the same way. Man, I wish we could go back and change time and give people smacks in the head and say, don't say that. Encourage us. Because think about it. If we were able to actually realize how normal it really was from the time we were 3, 4, whatever that age was, until now, think how much better the world would have been.
By far.
No, it wouldn't be perfect, but damn, living a life where you could channel and get messages from loved ones and your guides on a constant basis right through life. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made near the stupid mistakes. Yeah, I probably would have, because I don't really listen to my guides. Yes, I do. No, my guides are
we have all these great experiences. We have all these experiences. Sometimes they're not great, but they teach us a lot.
Exactly. So 3, 4 years old, you start seeing things that you realize other people aren't seeing them, and you think, what the hell?
I didn't know at that time. But my great grandmother kept telling me to be quiet, so It wasn't until later, I think maybe I was 8, and that was when I found out that my cousins thought I was weird. And that they, because I would say funny things like, don't do that to the tree, you're hurting it, or don't pull the tops of the flowers off, that they're crying.
Stop it. Why are you hurting that flower?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So yeah, and that's when I realized, oh, maybe I better be quiet.
I better listen to great grandma because they really think I'm weird.
Yeah, they did.
So as you're growing up then, and you're obviously, you haven't buried this at this point, you're still seeing energies, you're still
Yeah.
seeing things that most people don't. When did you come to that realization that what it really was?
I never really knew what it was, to be quite frank with you, because I didn't really have anybody to talk to about it. So I would have to say it was when I died.
And how old were you when this near-death experience happened to
I
you?
was almost 30.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna hold off on talking about that. Through your teenage years, your formative, I always call those teenage years like 13 to 18 years, your formative years.
Yeah,
Did you like bury it? How did you deal with it?
totally buried it. Completely, 100%, I would say, probably by 12, 13.
Yeah, because it was just too much. It was you
Just
wanted to be
know there,
you wanted to
yeah.
be one of the group.
Well, you want to be like everybody else, and you don't want to talk about weird things. And the only thing I did when we were in high school, some of my friends might remember this. Hopefully, they see the
It's
broadcast
like
here.
Gary and Ellison are actually chatting on
Oh,
on the chat.
I would read palms in high school when I was, I think, 14, 15. And I was doing that, and it was kind of for a laugh in a sense, but some stuff came true, so, and
That's
then
cool.
by time 15, like probably halfway through 15 for sure, that was the end of all of it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then you live pretty much a normal muggle. Got to have a Harry Potter reference every show.
Right? Harry Potter.
A muggle life through your late teens into your 20s. What happened when you were 30?
Well, I was involved in a really bad car accident. And so complications from the car accident over a period of time, I ended up, well, vastly being ignored by the medical system.
Oh, yeah.
So I ended up having 9 massive pulmonary emboli.
Oh,
So, yeah, so they were enormous, actually. From what I was told, they were bigger than a loonie.
oh,
So
okay.
for us, I guess it would be almost comparison to a bit smaller than a 50-cent piece, I guess.
Yeah.
And I had 9 of those, so I was having a series of heart attacks
Wow.
over a 2-day period before the last one really got stuck in my heart and just stopped the whole process, right? But otherwise, they were collecting in my lungs, and I was having a hard time breathing. I was a really avid cycler, so I usually did about 10K every day, 6 days a week.
Oh, okay.
And so I was on vacation at the time in Penticton. I was visiting my grandparents and thought, we'd do some cycling around there, but I couldn't even keep up to my daughter at the time, and she was just little, and I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought, well, maybe I had a chest infection or something, Couldn't figure it out until the time came where we were at a dinner party, and I didn't really like to cause or create any attention to myself, even though I was suffering tremendously. I was having a hard time breathing.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I had gone into the bathroom and I looked at myself and I said, Heather, if you don't go out there and say something, you're going to die.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you really do have an idea. It's really serious.
You
And
need
so I did. I got out of the washroom and I had said to the people at the party, turn the music down, and said, "Hey, I need an ambulance. I'm going to die if I don't have an ambulance."
Oh, geez.
And my fiance at the time talked everybody out of it. Yeah, so I didn't get an ambulance. Yeah, so anyways, long story short, I was in the vehicle and I died on the highway. He got lost for a while. We're in Vancouver area
Okay.
at this stage, and I died on route, and it was approximately 9 minutes. Could be a bit late, more than that, but basically 9 minutes, and had no prior belief structure. I mean, I didn't have any religious background. Came from a scientific. My father was very scientific minded, right? So,
Okay. Yeah.
when I was a little kid, I had asked him what happened when you die, and he said, "Well, nothing, because you live life, and that's the end of it."
And then you die. So you're actually in your fiance's car when this happened. He
Yeah,
obviously rushed you to an emergency somewhere.
yeah.
You say Vancouver
So,
area. Just because I grew up in Vancouver, what area?
oh, okay. So I was at Langley Hospital.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
I
right.
had a feeling it was out in that area. I'm like, I
Yeah,
picture where it was. They're showing me where it was, and I was like, yeah, okay.
yeah. So it was Langley Hospital,
So you're
and
at Langley. You get taken to Langley Hospital, and you were dead when you arrived. Like you didn't have a heartbeat. You weren't breathing.
I had just been resuscitated prior to that, and I remember looking and saying everything's going to be just fine.
So who resuscitated you while you were on the way to the hospital?
My actual ex at the time, he was trained and had to upgrade his training yearly for EMT.
Oh,
So
so
yeah,
he performed life-saving techniques with
he did the chest compression. My
knocked
sternum
them
was
out.
fractured actually because of it,
Quite
and
not uncommon, I hear.
yeah, and the whole 9 yards. So by the time I got to the hospital, yeah, and they had wheeled me in. Um,
So hold
I
on
remember
now. They're
saying,
telling me to hold on
yeah,
because we need clarification. You're with your fiance,
yeah,
and your ex was in the car with you,
yeah.
and so it wasn't your fiance. Your fiance was driving the
Well,
car.
he ended up. He is an ex.
Oh, it was okay. I was like, so you have your fiance and your ex in the car together
Sorry,
at the same
it was
time?
my
This is.
fiance
I
at the
want to
time.
hear this story.
Yeah, that's a good story. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that was funny. I enjoyed that a little too much. Um, so we're talking really serious, like she'd just been resuscitated, and I'm like, you had your ex and your fiance in the car?
Yeah, I know. Right? He ended up
Okay,
being the ex.
so you get to the hospital, broken sternum. They know you've been not breathing for X amount of time. How long were you in the hospital for? Like, what did they do? What
A
did they
month.
do? What did they say?
Oh gosh. I remember just waking up. There's a whole bunch of doctors. I think there was about 7 doctors around my bed. One of the pulmonary specialists, they flew in from Seattle because he was the one who told me that this is going to be in the medical books. We've never seen absolutely anybody survive this many massive clots before.
Holy.
It will be something to study, because they had
Wow.
never seen it. They didn't think anybody could survive it. And I honestly, I know that other doctors had things to say. I don't know. I was laying there and I remember thinking to myself as he was chattering to me and thinking, because he said, "Oh, you're a miracle. You're a miracle. Do you have any idea that you're a miracle?" And I was laying there thinking, yeah, but I got a secret. I got a secret.
I'm gonna get to that secret.
So nothing compared to the secret, Yeah.
So, how or where were you
Hey?
What is your memory of this whole event from the time they said no, we're not going to get you an ambulance, um, to the time you actually stopped breathing? Like, were you aware of everything that was happening? Do you remember everything?
Yeah, I do actually. It's a really impossible to forget.
Wow. Okay.
So I was in the vehicle. I remember thinking, because I knew Vancouver, I knew all that lower mainland area. He didn't. And I remember thinking, he has no idea where he's going.
Yeah.
You know, driving, obviously we're driving. And unfortunately he ended up taking a wrong turn and going into the States, across the
Oh,
border. Yeah.
oh goodness.
So I was not conscious for a period of time, and then I figured we had just crossed the border. And I was really, all I could think of was, oh my God, how did this happen? You know, are you kidding me? And he was talking to me, but I couldn't hear him. So I was losing my senses already.
Okay.
I couldn't hear, you know, so I had lost my ability to hear.
Wow.
I could still speak, and I said, I have to go to the bathroom. And so as he had turned around, there was an area to turn, I guess, to come back into Canada.
Right.
And he had parked right in front of the bathroom door. And so I kind of stumbled my way into there and propped myself up by the sinks. You know, you've got a big counter of sinks, right? Splashed some water on my face and kind of leaned on the wall and the counter. And I don't even know how long I was there for, to be honest with you. All I could think of was, oh God, don't let me die in a bathroom. Don't let me die in a bathroom. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't moving. I was just so exhausted. And I remember this elderly lady coming in, and I thought, oh God, here's some help,
Yeah.
right? Great. And so she had walked over to me, but I couldn't hear her, and now I couldn't talk anymore. I had lost that ability to talk. So she felt my forehead, and then she went like this, and she was talking to me, but this is how it looked to me, was couldn't
Oh,
hear
wow.
her. I'm screaming in my head, I need help, but I'm just so exhausted at the same time. I'm being propped up by the wall and everything. I remember
Yeah.
thinking, oh my gosh, she probably thinks I'm on something,
You're
right?
in the lower mainland. It wouldn't be an
I'm in a
uncommon
room, leaning
well, it
up and
wouldn't be
listening.
uncommon for them to see somebody who's on something going through what you're going through.
Yeah. And then she went to the washroom, she washed her hands, she eventually went, she turned around, she said something, I don't know what she said, and she left. I don't know how long I was standing there. I eventually slid my way all along the bathroom walls and everything till I got to
Yeah.
the door, and stumbled my way over to the front of the hood of the car and sat in there.
Wow.
And he was looking at me, and he was mad because he was like, rah, 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 rah. But I couldn't hear
Where have you
anything.
been?
Don't know what he said, you know? And I just kind of looked at him, and I didn't even think anything. I thought, because other than I thought, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
And then as we were getting back towards, coming into Canada, you have to speak to the officer. And I thought, oh, that's going to be my opportunity, because I won't be able to talk. I won't be able to, he'll know I need help.
Yeah.
No,
Oh no.
nope, 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 nope. I don't know what my fiance at the time had said, because he pointed at me, the guy, and I thought, I didn't turn my head much because everything was exhausting.
Yeah.
So I kind of just shifted my eyes over, and I don't know what my ex said because I couldn't hear. And then he just waved us off. And
Oh
that
geez.
was when I had said to myself,
That's
you're never going to make it, Heather.
wow.
You're never going to make it. So I had, not long after that, I don't really have a concept of time, to be honest with you.
Makes
I
sense.
had slumped over in the front of my seat. And I was so perplexed by the fact that, why is the dash so close? I mean, really close.
Like, why is this? Yeah.
I couldn't understand it. It seemed so up close that I could see, when you have the leather dash and you can see the little design of the leather, that's how I could see it. It didn't make any sense to me. And I thought, well, what's happening? Why am I looking at this?
Yeah.
And so there's this darkness that started to come. It came from the back of me, and it started coming more and more and more and more and more, this incredible blackness, until all I could see out of was like a tiny little pinprick. If you put a little pinprick in a piece of paper and try and look through that was the last thing I saw.
Oh, wow.
Until it was pitch black. And then there was a, it's a sound. It was like a, whoosh, no, sorry, whoosh, just like that, real quiet. Okay. I had noted that the pitch blackness, which I thought I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what it was. And it was blacker than black. I mean, I'm talking complete void of light. We've never experienced anything like it. And in life, I was always a tester.
Of course.
So I wanted to see, well, what is this? And is it really this dark? My eyes are open, my eyes are open.
My eyes are open. I can,
Right.
I can see the darkness.
So I put my hand in front of my face, but I couldn't see that either.
Oh.
Which I found really, really perplexing. But it's not like it was an uncomfortable place. It was like being suspended in animation. You're just suspended. It was warm. It was comfortable. It wasn't scary. Everything about it was actually quite calming, to be honest with you. Perplexing, though. Yeah. I didn't know what was happening. Way off in the distance, I could see what looked like a little flash of a teeny weeny little star. And of course, in this blackness, it caught my attention. So I had looked at it and I thought, wow, what is that? And then it flashed again and it started getting bigger and more and more and more, till there was like it was like a funnel.
Oh, okay.
Okay. A gray funnel. And of course it came this way, right? The widest part being at the bottom coming towards me. So anyways, and I did see that. I didn't know what it was, but it wasn't scary. And next thing I knew, I was in it. And it's swirling. Okay, so it's moving. And I thought, well, what the hell is this? What's going on? I don't understand what's going on, And so I had stretched my arms and legs out, kind of, now I'm looking probably like a starfish, to see if I can touch the sides and stop myself from going up, because it was an upward motion. And it expanded. So I could never touch the sides.
Interesting.
And so now I'm starting to get concerned. I don't understand what's happening. I'm moving in this upward motion, and the higher I get.
I'm going to interrupt here. At this point, you're still thinking you're in the car.
No, I don't know where I am, and I don't know what's happening. I really was 100% clueless.
Weird.
Didn't know. Didn't have any idea whatsoever. The tunnel, the higher I went, the lighter it got, until eventually. I'm going to turn that TV off because I can see the blue. Anyways, eventually I was coming to this place of it was a blue-white light. And next thing I knew, I was in it. And it was so bright because I was doing this.
Oh, okay.
Right? Now, if you can imagine, because, people started to come.
Yeah.
But if you can imagine a massive a football field, and the really big lights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put them all at ground level, but stack them about 25 high.
And they're shining right at you.
right at you, and now have a big group of people starting to walk out of there. So all I could see at first was that there's something moving, and then I could see slight outlines of people.
Yeah.
And I'm still watching, and I'm not sure what's happening. And then next thing I knew, it was like, bam, they were in front of me. But the whole entire front row was past relatives.
Oh, wow. So when we
So
say past relatives, we're talking relatives that passed on, crossed over,
yeah,
died, quotation marks. I
died.
always use that. Gone to the other side in the astral realm.
Yes, yes.
Wow. Very
And
cool.
it was confusing.
Oh, I can
And I'm
imagine,
looking at
especially
them.
if
So
you've never had that happen to you. You've never had a loved one come to you at this point.
yeah. So my great grandmother passed away before I was 6.
Okay.
So she was there with my great grandfather and my uncle and my aunt Alice. So there was all kinds of them. And I'm looking at them, and my great grandmother had stepped forward, and she said, "Heather, you have died." And I'm like, "No, right? No."
No, that's
And
not
now
right.
I'm starting to freak out, and I'm not very nice about it. And I told her to get the F away from me. She said, "Get the F away from me, back off. Everybody back off, leave me alone."
Not
Totally
dead.
freaking out. Yeah, totally freaking out. I mean, how can this
Yeah.
be?
Yeah.
No belief structure prior, right? So she did step back. By then I had fallen to my knees, and I was like this. I had my hands over my face, and I was just bawling and freaking out, right? And so then there was this voice. I only call it a voice, and it within the light. And yes, there was the love and peace and everything else,
Good.
but
I was going to ask that.
I
You
was
did
still
feel that.
freaking out
Yeah, of
to the
course.
point. Yeah, when my grandmother said that, for sure. Yeah, then I had to figure out what was happening. And the voice was very calming and very gentle. And I mean, there's no words really. Yeah, pure love, but it doesn't really.
Humans, I can't understand that we can't comprehend
Yeah,
unconditional love. A
yeah,
pet can give us unconditional love. A pet can feel unconditional love. I know my dog does. Bella gives me unconditional love. She knows
yeah.
it. I can't. There's no way a human can feel it because we would literally explode. I take that's
Mhm.
what you're describing.
Yes, it's like nothing you could ever possibly imagine, and words cannot even express. They cannot even express the acceptance. And
Goosebumps.
yeah, it's just really quite something.
Yes,
And
awesome.
from there, I had a life review with this voice, the light, and some beings. Call them beings, okay?
For lack of a better word, we'll let you call them beings.
Let me call them beings. Yeah, they just shone white, but they had an outline to them. So we'll call them beings. At any rate, so this life review is, if you can imagine, where you're sitting, the ceiling and the walls and the floor and front and back is an actual living review where you can see, taste, feel everything. The
So
most,
can I
yeah,
interrupt you? I know this is a real critical part, but I've got to explain why I'm making the faces I'm making.
okay.
Your great grandma, when you were talking about her, she came in. So I'm
Yeah.
seeing your great grandma, and I'm seeing her reaction to you telling the story. And she's literally letting me see exactly what you're describing. And it's freaking amazing. I'm just like, oh, this is cool. Oh, okay, this is cool. Just so people know what I'm doing. Ooh, I'm literally being. I have an inside soul that's giving me the inside info on this. So carry on. So
Yeah,
you're
that's pretty
seeing your
cool, right?
literal. Some people described it to me as a screen. I love the way you said it because that's what it looks like to me. It's not like a screen with your life flashing before your eyes. It's
Yeah,
like
no.
it's an actual play going on in front of you, a live play going on in front
It's
of you.
yeah, it's all around you, like
Yeah.
any single aspect you could possibly imagine. Even the my minuscule little tiny feeling that somebody had, you
Your
can
feeling.
feel it
Yes.
completely.
Okay.
And not only that, you can see the energy, and you can see that feeling on an energetic level, and how that feeling then transitioned into the body and transitioned into their belief structure and a false belief structure, and it just went on and on and on. Honestly, it was just absolutely incredible. Incredible, that whole entire portion of it. And you never realize, there were things that I had said to somebody to help them out, and to me it was just such a tiny little thing, but to them it actually
Oh,
all things for them.
Heather, I literally on a regular basis, when I'm doing a session with somebody, I'll have a random soul come in and they won't understand who the soul is. And I'll say, you know what? You probably don't even realize how much of an impact you made in their life by doing A, B, or C. A lot of times it was somebody at school where they walked by you in the hallway and you always stopped and said hi, or how's your day? You're sitting in
Yeah,
class and you say, how's your day? To some
yeah,
people, that's huge.
huge, huge. Yeah,
Huge.
yeah,
That smile you give
absolutely.
a stranger, you don't
Yeah,
know that
it
person, but you
matters. It
smiled at
all
them. And
matters.
you know what? It made a major difference in their life. For that
Yeah,
single millisecond they walked by you, you smiled. Guess what? It made them smile. Ooh, I'm getting like, ooh.
yeah.
And
It
you're right. I'm glad you're explaining this.
Well, it's even goes it even went as far as showing me how thought works, just to think things, and how that actually gets broadcasted, and how people pick that up, and what they then do with it, because energy is just living. It's just boundless, and there's no distance it can't go. I mean,
Yes,
somebody could be
exactly.
on the other side of the planet and thinking something about somebody else. They'll pick it up. You can pick it up.
Yes. That
Yeah.
is.
So there was that as well,
I
and then
love
it
how
went on.
much you remembered. It amazes
Oh,
me how much you remember. It's so, because
everything.
not everybody does. Not everybody that has an NDE remembers that much detail. They know they were somewhere and something happened, but they're
Mm.
vague on the details. What they're showing me, what you're telling me is so detailed. It's so cool.
It was
Continue.
so incredibly. And the other thing, I know we don't have a whole lot of time, and my NDE was actually quite um, big. But I'd like to get on to the karma aspect of things.
Yes.
I know karma can be a complicated thing to understand, or some people say, "Oh yeah, karma, karma." But
Karma,
how that was
karma.
explained, yeah, how that was explained to me was we we come into our lifetime with our contracts. We do have a contract. We do have an agreement of things that we're going to experience. Is it every single tiny little thing? Absolutely not, because we have free will and there's other people involved, and so it's not every single thing. It's a lot of things, but it's not every single thing.
Shapes your life, but it's not everything. It's a
No.
great way to put it. I love that explanation. I'm probably going to use that
Yeah.
explanation
Yeah,
in
for sure.
I'm going to write down that time because I'm going to pull that because that was really well done.
Sure. And
Carry on.
so anyways, they I was shown that we do choose our family. We've got our soul pod, our soul group, and it's not necessarily just family, and it could be somebody we're going to meet later, and a friend, but a really, really good friend, a close friend, on a soul level, we know each other. So
Oh,
that was explained as well. And for the karma, sometimes we'll actually choose a parent who eventually they're going to end up with a significant other in their life, and um, there was karma between me and one of my mom's husbands, and it
oh
wasn't good. Yeah, it was
man.
not good. Um, but I was shown how in another lifetime I had actually murdered him. Yeah, in another lifetime. So I came to meet a lot of my karma in this lifetime.
I
Which
actually met somebody in this lifetime that we've had past lifetimes together where
Right.
we've killed each other many times in different lifetimes. So I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds odd, but it was really actually explained in quite detail. I'm kind of going through this pretty fast because I know we're on a time limit. It's 40 minutes have gone by.
I can't believe there's been 40 minutes gone by. When you said, I know there's not a lot of time, I looked down at the clock and went, holy crap. So but I don't want to stop you because I want you to continue what you went through there. So karma.
Yeah, so the explanation of karma and the explanation of deja vu was one of my questions. I wanted to know about deja vu. So basically, when you have deja vu, it's kind of, it's almost like a little bookmark of you're exactly where you need to be on the path you need to be on. It's a reminder.
Awesome explanation.
Like a bookmark. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was great. The other thing that I was shown was the place of healing. So when we die and pass over, on a soul level, we'll go to what's called a place of healing. And this place is quite beautiful. Again, it's energy, it's living color. And I know that sounds really funny, but it's like the frequency is alive. Yeah, the frequency is alive. Yeah. And so they go there for healing. There's also the auditorium, which you can go to, which I did go to, where you could talk about the lifetime you just had, and share that with those there who have not maybe incarnated, maybe here once or none, so you can share. And oh gosh, there's just so much, honestly.
Well, and it's important to know, as Heather is explaining this, we visit here, we visit Earth. Oh,
this is like a school.
We live over there. It's not like we just go there and play harps and sing. There's an actual society, for lack of a better word, over there. Yeah. There's structures. There's it's a place. And a lot of people can't grasp that concept. I've been there. I've actually been there in dreams. So I get what you're talking about.
I wanted to explain, if I can, really quick. I called it the place of records, but I believe everybody knows it as the Akashic Records.
Hall of Records. Yep. Yeah,
the place of records. Anyways, this place, when you look up, it's endless. And there's some written material in these books, but there's some just like little movies.
Yes.
It's just absolutely unbelievable.
And marble floors. All your lives are kept. It's where all your lives are kept. It's like everybody has their own library. That's what it is. It's it's a cool place.
It is.
So we're in the astral realm. Now we know where you were. What happened to make you when did you find out? It's like, I'm not supposed to be dead. I got to go back.
I wasn't going to come back. Actually, I wasn't meant to come back.
Oh.
I had negotiated my coming back.
I didn't know you could negotiate there.
You can, actually. I wasn't going to come back, and I had asked, I had stated I wanted to come back because. And I wanted to come back because my big thing was, and I kept saying it over and over again, I didn't get to finish. I need to finish. I want to finish. I need to. And of course, then there was my promise. My promise was to come back, share the experience, share what I learned, and help people with that, right? So that's where the energy work and everything comes in. But beyond that, before I came back into my body, I was asked if I was sure, because it was going to be a hard and long, painful journey coming back. And that there wasn't going to be a whole lot of help on the medical end of things, and that it was going to be hard, very, 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 very hard. And I didn't have to do it. Like I could stay. And so I
Yeah.
had decided to anyways. I wanted to anyways. And that I was told some things you can heal and some things you won't be able to.
Oh,
And
thank you for saying that.
yeah. And so
It's
with that, I
an
had
important
agreed.
message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Not everybody's coming back and is 100% healed, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to fast forward because we
In a
are.
nutshell, that's some of it.
And people have to understand, because now people are going to go, come on, she was only dead for 9 minutes. Like, how could she experience all that in 9 minutes? You got to understand, in the astral realm, time doesn't exist. They don't have the 24-hour clock. It's not Earth. It's totally, completely different. Time doesn't matter. It's non-existent.
No. And not only that, the other thing I wanted to say is, you know, when your iPod or whatever, and you're flicking through screens like really, really fast, that's how some of this stuff was shown to me.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, you get
You
instantaneous
pick it up.
knowledge, right?
You
Because
know it on
you
its
don't have
own.
the human brain to interfere with you. It's a soul
That's right.
level, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not going to go into your travel back, because I'm being told we don't want to go there right now. Well, it's too long, and yeah, we're just going to skip that part because yeah. So you end up back in your body. Your soul returns to your body. You got to remember, people, when we leave this world, we go to the other side. We go to the astral realm. We don't take our body with us. It's our soul. Yes, you might see your long lost loved ones with a body. That's because their soul is showing it to you the way you need to see it. When we go to the astral realm, we're just a soul.
Yeah, and they will show you they will show themselves in a way you can best understand. And that goes for guides and everything else.
Yes, always. Because most of the time when I see guides, they're an orb of energy.
Yeah.
Because I'm a literal person. That's what they are. They're an orb of energy. And people are like, well, he's an Indian. And I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that, but I know they are showing them that they're
right.
from East India. They're from their looks, etc. It's because that's what that person needs to see. So you're back in your body. We're gonna fast forward the movie. You're back in your body. When's the first time you realize that you're back in your body? Are you still? Yeah. Are you at the hospital yet? Even?
Yeah, I'm in the hospital. There's all the doctors around.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So I know there was a bunch of tests there. I know there was an ambulance to the large Vancouver hospital. I had special tests done, pulmonary tests, and yeah, a bunch of tests.
Did anybody ever ask at the hospital or any of the subsequent visits what you experienced?
Nobody wanted to talk about it.
Isn't that weird, eh? And your guides are like, yeah, ask her that question. It
Nobody.
amazes me that we're still the only nation that doesn't want to talk about it. I'm telling you, I can guarantee you, you're in Europe, they're talking about it.
I don't know. Yeah.
You're in Japan, they're talking, like any other nation in the world, they're talking about this shit.
Yeah. But we've gotten better because you know what? We're talking about it tonight.
Aren't we?
And I've waited a long, long time for people to feel comfortable enough to actually even open up this subject.
Well, yeah. I mean, 5 years ago, if I met you 5 years ago, I would never, even if I knew you had a near-death experience, and even though I knew what's over there because I've been there in dreams with my dad.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have asked you because it was taboo.
Yeah.
Now I can ask you and almost be lightheartedly about it, even though it's a very serious topic, because holy crap, you almost died. Well, you did die. Yeah. You came back.
Yeah.
But it's a topic that needs to be talked about, because guess what?
We're all doing it.
Well, you're not the only person to have experienced a near-death experience.
That's right.
NDE is the thing. People do it on not a regular basis, but it's not unnormal. Just nobody talks about it. So a lot of times it gets pushed to the back of your brain and you don't even think about it anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of fast forward. You're 30 years old. You obviously recovered because we're here talking.
Yeah.
Did you right away start going, oh my God, I have to keep my promise?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That promise has never been forgotten, ever.
Nice.
Not even for a second. If anything, sometimes I would be worrying, when I was younger, I would be worrying about I wasn't keeping my promise well enough.
Yes.
And then they'd call me back. Yeah.
So let's fast forward because we literally have less than 10 minutes. What do you call yourself? Like, people ask me, are you a psychic? And I'm like, no, I'm not a psychic. I don't like that term. I'm a channeler and I do mediumship. That's what I do. I channel spirit guides and I talk to dead people. So
right.
What do you do? What do you call yourself? Or do you put a label?
I don't really know what to call myself, to be quite frank with you. I channel, yes. I actually assist people. I guide them to come into alignment with themselves, to come into a space of self-awareness, to heal. The body is like a massive filing system, and unexpressed events or things in our lives, we actually file in places into our body. And this makes eventually the energy stagnate. And so when I look at somebody and I see that, and then I'll say, oh, this is connected to this age, blah, blah, and blah, blah. I write very unique, very specific meditations for people that they can have always. Right. I channel those meditations. I channel the frequency of energy that they need to be using for whatever work they're working with. I teach people how to ground, how to feel more centered. Nice. And I don't know. There's quite a bit actually.
You do. I mean, I know we talked prior, and you said you don't really do energy healing, but really, you do energy healing, Heather. I hate to tell you, but that's what energy healing is. So you do energy healing.
Well, I walk
you just don't put a label on it. What's that?
I walk people through it, right?
And that's what people don't understand is nobody can heal me. You can walk me through to heal myself. You know what I mean? We have to heal ourselves. You can set me on the path, right? So I get what you're talking about. Now I know we talked, and you don't have a business. Like you don't have brick and mortar place people come to. You don't have a website. You don't even have a Facebook, but you do have an Instagram, which is right on the screen there, which says Got Insight. Is that right?
Got_insight. Yeah.
Got_insight. So you can, if people want to get a hold of you, they can either go there or they can email you. And what's your email address?
It's gotinsights with an S at the end of gotinsights, all one word, at gmail.com.
Gotinsights@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, obviously, you don't need people to be in your room with you. You can do things.
I remote view.
Thank you.
Remote view. So I will watch you when I give you a meditation, and I'm walking you through your meditation with the exact frequency that you need. I ask for permission that I may connect with you, so then I can watch to see how the energy is moving inside your body. So I call it remote viewing. Sometimes it's astral, depending on if they need some help. I'll do astral and assist that way, and then I'll step back again and continue to walk them through it. So
and is this on Zoom? People are on Zoom doing this, or
this is on Zoom. I can do this on the phone, on Zoom, and in person. anybody wants to take a drive
To somewhere north of Edmonton. Yeah, no.
the boondocks. But energy has no boundaries, and it bounds. And I mean, you can see energy. That doesn't matter where. I've
And
worked with people in Africa.
do you have a set price for your sessions, or how does that work?
I actually work on a sliding scale because I would like everybody, no matter what their financial status is or abilities are, to have access. Because there were time periods I really did need some help to understand my own NDE, and if I didn't have the money, nobody was helping me, and I didn't have the money. So, you know.
I get it. When I did my special through the month of October for $30 for an hour, I had lots of people private messaging me, and I won't name them, asking me why I was making it so inexpensive when I was hurting the industry, quotation marks. And my reply is always the same. I can charge $10 if I want. I can charge $150 if I want. It's really none of your business.
That's right.
Because I'm the same way. I came from very, very humble beginnings, grew up in East Vancouver in a low rental income project, seen things most people would like shake their head at, and didn't have any money, literally didn't have any money. My dad died when mom was 8 months pregnant with me, and she raised 9 of us as a single mom. I get it when you say you want to make sure people can afford it. So cost should never be an issue. That's cool. That's very cool. And
I will say, by the way, Mr. Kevin, I had mentioned to you before that you needed to do some breath work with the vibration of that, the pink with the shimmering silver.
I do remember that. You know what? I didn't remember it until you said it. Until you said it, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that. It was funny. I have to tell you a story then, because I don't know if you saw my interview with Kevali. He is from South Africa, the Ivory Coast of South Africa.
No, I didn't see that one.
All over the world. It was a horrible interview as far as technology went, because he was way up northern Quebec at the time. He traveled across Canada in a 1988 C-Class motorhome. Anyway, so his sound was really bad. I'm going to bring him back on in December, I think, hopefully, because he's now back in Vancouver. But I did a session with him, a group session with him in Calgary, rhythmic breathing, shamanic breathing. What colors did you say?
The pink and the silver specks in there.
That's exactly and we did a sound. It was funny. We did a sound bath, Ellison and I, a couple weeks back. Nice. And I didn't know sound was color. I had no idea.
Yes. So everything's color. Everything is visual.
Right? So that's kind of cool. I have to remember that. We have to talk about that at another time.
I was also, now I lost it. It's gone. Shoot. Yeah, it's gone.
I love them. I get them all the time. It's okay. Heather, this hour went by way too damn quick, honey. Honey, I'm sorry. That's such a derogatory term, and I apologize.
It's okay. I'm not horrified.
Good, because you know what? I call lots of people honey. That's a term of endearment. My mother taught me it, and my mother's standing there going, "Yeah, but I also told you not to use it anymore since I've passed on." And I'm like, "I know." it's old habits. It's a term of endearment, and I have gotten in lots of trouble, especially in 2020 forward, 2010 forward. You can't.
But when you see the energy and now in the delivery of the energy, you know it's not. Yeah.
Heather, thank you. It's funny. Shelley just posted incredible story. Thank you for sharing. I want to thank you for having the courage to come and share your story publicly. I'm going to go a few minutes overtime because a lot of people will probably see this on replay. On my YouTube channel, Kevali channeling, which I will share, and I believe Heather's going to share that as well.
Yeah.
And I hope if if just one person hears your story and goes, "Oh wow, I'm not fucking nuts." Excuse my language.
Yeah. Right.
This happened to a similar experience happened to me.
Mm.
I'm going to kind of look out into the camera, and if you've had a near death experience and you're willing to share, message me. I really, really, it's something that's really been. I'm going to use the word fascinating to me, especially since I really delved into my spirituality and took all the courses I've taken, and it's become more and more relevant, I think. And I think it's going to become more and more relevant as we go forward. So, Heather, I have a message for you. Share your
Okay.
story. Share that story of yours. Share it more. I know you talk about it a lot. You need to share it more. Are you going to write a book?
I'm writing it.
Are you?
Currently, yeah.
Yeah, your guides are like, encourage you to write the book. And I'm like, don't stop.
Yeah.
That story needs to be told, and more people need to know that it's not it's not unnormal. So, Heather,
No,
thank you
no,
so much. I really appreciate
thank
it.
you.
I'm going to put you
Thank
back in the
you.
waiting room while I say goodbye. Don't go anywhere because I want to chat with you afterwards.
Awesome. Yep.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Everybody, holy cow, what a fast hour. And I apologize. I know I try to always keep it to exactly an hour, and we're over an hour now, but it was important to hear in detail what happened with Heather in that NDE. So for another night, thank you so much. We will be back on November the 14th. And I think we have 2 guests coming on. I think I'm going to just go. Sorry, what I'm doing is I got my phone and I got to go to my calendar because my brain doesn't work. Yes, we have the 2 owners of 5D Souls that are going to be coming on. I will be posting about it during the week. Please tune in, share the information I put out if you could. And again, if you want to book a session with me, of course, you can go to Kevali Channeling on Facebook. Click the book now. My rates did go up. They're at $75 for a 1-hour session, or I believe it's $40 for a 30-minute session. Don't be afraid of booking a 30-minute session. They could be quite valuable, and you can get a lot of information from a 30-minute session. Or if you want to book an hour, you obviously get a way more in-depth. Anyways, till next week, take care of yourself. Stay warm if you're in the frigid cold, and we will talk to everybody soon.